Hi, Joe Cerrone. Welcome to CAD 230 Introduction to SolidWorks. And this is our first Zoom classroom meeting. And what I like to do is to make these 10-minute videos for students who haven't made it to the meeting and want to see what we're working on for the week. Today, we're going to go through basic policy and procedures, everything from the syllabus to the software and to the assignments. In the main splash page, I will put announcements here. And so today's announcement tells you about our Zoom meeting. And then there's some information about myself. Some of the videos have a little bit of dateness to them, but the content is good. If there is something that needs to be recut, I will recut those videos. But this is basically just an introduction to me, telling you a little bit about the course. The textbook we'll be using is this SolidWorks 2020. If you use a newer one or an older one, they're all really pretty basically the same. There's a little bit of content that will be updated as the course and the author updates the book. But for the most part, we'll be working out of the 2020 book. You can link to the book here on Amazon. And so you can purchase this book on Amazon. You can also link to it if you go to SDC Publishing. And it's SDC Publications. And if we go and look under CAD, and then we go into SolidWorks, and we look under SolidWorks 2020, there's some additional options in here under SolidWorks 2020. Let's see if I pass it up. There we go. And so here's your purchase options right here. And so you can get the book on Apple Books, Google Play. A lot of the students are using the Google Books because they're virtual. You don't have to have printed copies. I like them both. I have a tendency to lean towards the virtual copies these days. And what we'll be doing is we'll be going through the book chapter by chapter. The chapters are laid out using this course management software. You will need a copy of the SolidWorks software, and there's two ways that you can access the software. One of them is to VPN into an existing computer at Oakton. And so the instructions for remote access are right here. And it takes a little while to go through the instructions. If you do have any difficulty with it, you can email me and I can assist you with that. You can also contact the help desk. I'll oftentimes VPN in if I have to access something on my home computer or on my office computer. The preferred way is really to download the SolidWorks software, because then you don't have to, there's a little bit of latency when you access it over the internet. And so to download the software, you'll use this code here. And it's in red. And this is, they updated the policy on SolidWorks. If you've taken a SolidWorks course in the past, it was a little bit different. And so you can check the system requirements. And then as you go through, you're going to just follow these instructions. Yes, I have a serial number that starts with 9020. Here's our 9020 number. And then you can go and install the 2021 version of the software. You'll need to use your student email. I installed this on 2 computers. It went in without a glitch. It wasn't a problem. If you do need any assistance with it, you can instant message and we can support you on that. Assignment due dates will be located here in the calendar. And so I typically put things due about 2 weeks after I go and post them in the announcements. And so the first module would be due September 14th. And then thereafter, we have a module due every week after that. If we look at the navigation for the D2L, we have content. I don't use discussions because these technical courses at this point, possibly if we get into some presentation materials. Assignments is where we will turn in the drawings. And so if I click on the assignments, you'll see that the assignments are set right here. And then it will tell me if you have submitted the assignment. and how many points there were. If I click on the module, you can see how the assignments will be graded. And so is it set up with the proper units? Is the sketch accurate? Are features properly applied? And then we'll give you feedback over how you did with these. When you turn in the assignments, it kind of flags me and lets me know that you've turned them in. If you need an extension, you can request one. And that's kind of how that works in the engineering field. It's better to request an extension than it is to turn something in that's not quite right. The navigation here then under contents is where the material is located. And so every week we'll have this material. I'm going to show you the quizzes and exams. And so we'll have these quizzes available. Each module will have a quiz associated with it, a volume quiz and a multiple choice quiz. And the quizzes will be very similar to the questions at the end of the chapters for the multiple choice. And for the volume quizzes, they're kind of geared towards getting you to understand how to pass these certification exams. And so when you model a part, depending on the materials that you set that part out of, it'll have a certain density. And so by setting the material properties, we can then calculate out the volume and get the volume for each of the parts. Grades, as your scores are submitted, they'll be posted to the gradebook. I don't have anything in there right now. I don't do checklists. Class lists will show me who's in the class, and that's basically it. As we look at the content section, the way the content section is set, I kind of run it from the top to the bottom here. We've got the instructions again on how to download the software. And here's the course syllabus. If we look at the course syllabus, I put PDFs and Word documents in. The PDFs load faster. And so I'll typically bring those up, but I put the Word documents in there in case I have to make any edits or changes. This is my email. You can email me with my Oakton email, but the preferred way is to use the D2L because it actually tells me right away when you're emailed. My office is located at the Skokie campus in room P131. And I'm there in the mornings, Monday through Saturday. I'm not there on Fridays, or I try not to be. But that's where you can find me if you need to get a hold of me. Prerequisites are general computer skills. And the course will basically go through solid modeling techniques for product design and manufacturing. We'll use SolidWorks, which is a parametric modeling software, to create these two-dimensional sketches that we will then create three-dimensional models from. And SolidWorks is a really great tool. It's used in product design. It's used for a number of mechanical design, and it's probably the leading software in the manufacturing industry for product design. Learning objectives are basically to describe engineering design and development process, be able to create sketches, apply constraints, create these three-dimensional parametric models, and to be able to go through with materials, create an assembly, be able to analyze things like mates. So when we assemble something, how do they go together? Mates are kind of like glue. It's almost like making something out of Lego on the computer. It's kind of, I enjoy it quite a bit. Analyze the structures. You can go through and virtually test these out. We can examine the mass properties. And then we can also create drawings, two-dimensional drawings or blueprints, and then communicate, be able to effectively talk about your designs. Academic integrity, essentially, you don't want to go through and do any of these things here. They're more trouble than they're worth. You're better off to just take the bad grade or ask for some assistance. But these can be kind of a difficult thing if something happens with them. So really try not to get yourself into a situation to get yourself in trouble with academic integrity. The outline of topics, we're basically, like I said, going through these different chapters. And as we go through the chapters, we start off with sketching and relations, and then we go into part drawing and creating assemblies. And we'll use these other features like hole wizards, linear patterns. I have a 3D printer project. And so we'll make a project that we can 3D print, and you can pick up your parts over at the Skokie campus. 3D printing is really a great thing. We're pretty big into it. We've got about 16 of the desktop 3D printers, and then we've got Stratus Dimension, which is our commercial grade 3D printer in the engineering lab. We'll see if we can work with some sheet metal. We'll definitely do threads. And you can take the SolidWorks Certified Associate exam or the CSWA exam. And the way that I run that is I'll give you a choice of my final, and then if you want to take the certification after that, I will give you a voucher. And it's a great certificate to have, because when somebody applies for a job, if they have a certification like that, it kind of lets the employer know the level of knowledge that a student has. And there's a number of different certifications that you can get through SolidWorks. And then we have midterm and final exams. The projects basically will give lectures. We do a lot of video recording, and we basically tie that to the workbook with the problems. Course requirements: be prepared to spend some time out of class to be able to do the work in the books. As I do these Zoom meetings, you don't necessarily have to attend them, but it's a good way to kind of stay up to pace on what we're working on. Here's the information on the book again. We'll use Zoom. 75% of your evaluation will be the drawing modules, and 25% tests and quizzes. And it's a straight 90, 80, 70, A, B, C, respectively. If you have any sort of special needs, if you're in need of assistance with that, the college maintains a safe environment for you. And we want people to feel comfortable working at Oakton. And so there's resources for students. If they need those resources, you can get those resources available to you as stated in the syllabus. If the building is closed, there's some emergency procedures, et cetera. We don't really have to worry about that since we're online. All right, that's the syllabus. And then as we look at the other information here, there is a pretest. And the pretest is not going to be scored. It just gives us an idea of where you're at with SolidWorks so that we can kind of see if you have some experience with that. And so that's going to be on your to-do list. And then we have these modules. And so module 1, we're starting up today. And everything is pretty well laid out for you. Watch the videos for chapter 1, 2, and then we also have videos for the other chapters. We'll complete the labs as shown in the splash page here. And so I've given you the chapter 3 of the book. If I click on that, we can see the textbook and the chapter 3 instructions for that. And we'll come back to that in a minute. We'll label each of the assignments. And so here's lab 1A, 1B, and 1C. And then we'll create those drawings using SolidWorks. And so here's the labs. I've got a little bit of delay on my computer for some reason. We'll come back to that. I'm not sure why it's glitching on me. We have videos, and so chapter 1 and chapter 2 are really geared towards the interface. And so the content there is okay. It's not necessarily super in-depth as far as being able to set up the software or set up the options. And we have videos for those. And so if we click on the chapter 1 video, You'll notice that there's a different person speaking on this, and this is Sebastian Strabansky, and he's been teaching with Oakton. Gosh, I hired him right out of high school, and now he's been around for quite a while. And so he set these up last year, and so he does the videos. And so the videos will go through and explain the content for each of the chapters. This one goes through the general system options and the settings for those. There's not a real lot that we're going to change in the system. And then if we come back here to module 1, here's the interface. And so we go through how SolidWorks is laid out. And then here's chapter 2 video. Chapter 2 video goes through more of the options. And then here's your lab videos. And so I really like the videos because I just returned from Indiana, where I was going through some supply chain training, and everything was written in the textbook. And it was like I had to read through 3 pages to do something that somebody could show me in a video in about 30 seconds. So it's kind of like that. You know, you'll look at the book and you'll say, okay, I can follow this instructions. But if you have the book and you have a video, that's really the way to go. You can have an iPad or a dual screen monitor. And on one computer, you have the SolidWorks, and on the other one, you have the instructions. And that's the way that I recommend it. And then you have the assignment. This links to the assignments tab and the quiz for each of these components of the class. I've also found that I get a lot of people that really just like SolidWorks a lot, and they want to go through and do additional assignments. And so I've made bonus assignments. And so in this chapter, if you want to hear me doing the videos, here they are. And so I like to pull these exercises from old SolidWorks books, just how to create sketches and to create different part models. They're not required, they're bonus, and they're basically going to give you an extra 10% for the module. So about 3 points is the maximum bonus, because we don't want to over bonus the assignments, but it's a great way to get really good with SolidWorks if you'd like extra assignment work. All right, so module 1 is to create these 3 part models from chapter 3. Chapter 3 is located right here. And so if we look at the chapter 3, it's taken straight from the textbook. The learning objectives are given right here. Sketch on planes, use these sketch tools to construct geometry, etc. These are the commands that we'll use for sketching: line commands, circles, fillets. We'll work with dimensions and relations. And the first exercise will have us work with the extrude feature. As you go through these, the first thing you want to notice on these is that the units, so it will tell you what units to use, and the dimensioning standard, which we can set up in the options. It's in the videos for how to set those up. I'll be happy to show you after I do the short Zoom meeting. I was going to try to keep it to 10 minutes, but it looks like it's going to go longer. And so as we go through the chapters, they'll go through and give you the knowledge or the basic overall theory of working with SolidWorks, parent-child relations, starting a new drawing, and then basically going through and working with the part from the origin and on the planes. And what I like to do is I like to tell everybody what to do in this short Zoom meeting, post that, and then I'll open the class up for going through and doing the assignments afterwards. And that way we don't have this big 2-hour video to watch. And so the textbook will go through the techniques to create the sketch, to be able to add relations like collinear. We'll set these lines to be the same, in the same height in the y-axis. And then we can talk about these geometric relations. So chapter 3 has these exercises. And so this is the first one. And then the second exercise that we will do, that's going to be due in 2 weeks. It's right here. And then we have a third exercise right here. And we have the videos created for those exercises. So first assignment, go through chapter 1, 2, and 3 and create the drawings for the models that I just explained in the video here. And they're located right here in module 1, showing you in the splash page here, those exercises. Take the quiz and take the other quiz for volume. And then if you want to do the bonus exercises, that's available for you. Other things in the course, you're welcome to take a look at the 3D printer lab. I like to make these mechanical parts. They're fun, and you can get an idea of how things fit together and how to work with 3D printing. It's a really terrific technology. I've been working in the shop since I was a kid, and we used to make these out of metal. You can still make them out of metal, but you can even print them out of metallic materials now. And so I really like the 3D printing because there's not a lot of setup involved in creating these things. And so you're welcome to work on that as you see fit. And then as we go through the course, I'll continue to add more modules. And so this week I have module 1 available, and then module 2 I activated for anybody who wants to work ahead. And it's the same scenario where we have videos of how to do each of the labs, and then there's a quiz. And I've also put some bonus material there and with videos on how to do those bonus assignments. All right, with that, I'm going to go back to the main splash page here. And to kind of wrap up our short Zoom meeting recording. So welcome to the course. I'll have these Zoom meetings every week. The assignments are going to be located under content here for each of the modules. Module 1 will be due September 14th at 11:30 p.m. What you will do is you'll draw the part that is assigned to you, and then you will save that drawing and you will place it in the assignments folder. And so you can go to this module 1 assignments folder and attach that file by selecting add a file, locate the file on your drive and submit it. And you can also add feedback. So you can say, how do I add a fillet feature? And we can communicate that way. And that way I can get your files, walk you through it. Sometimes I'll just make a video and send you a link to the video so that I can just show you how to do that. And then as we take a look at some of the other things, quizzes and exams, each module will have an exam. Here's our volume quiz. And so as you take the volume quiz, I can't really show it because I'm logged in as a student. Let me change that. So here's our volume quiz. What we'll do is we'll model the part, and then we will analyze and give the correct answer for that. And so once we have the part modeled, then we'll calculate that. And I'll show you how to do that after I do this short video meeting. And then the multiple choice quizzes. And you'll just take those like you would take a regular quiz. All right, and so that's our basic standard operating procedures for the course. Each week I'll put the announcement. The Zoom meeting will be the same time, same place. So every Monday at 6 o'clock. Now, next week is a holiday. I will still hold a meeting, but with it being a holiday, I'll have it as an open lab. You don't have to attend, but I find that a lot of people will attend anyway. So I will hold a meeting for that. And then, as you go through, these are the due dates for that. Okay, so that's a wrap on our basic operating procedures for our first class. I'm going to stop the recording and then I'm going to open up the class to go through and talk about the assignments.